So in Asia, when they are awake, also in Sydney, they simply have a time window of only three hours. Okay, so that's why we say in Sydney and in Tokyo, we get that and we make it one trading session, which is Asian session. So meaning that the point is, why are we looking, at all this? The point is, why are we looking at all this? Someone who is really interested in trading now. Here's the key. When you are trading, it's important for you to know which currencies are active during a certain period of, that appropriate time you're in. Like for instance, if you're to trade JPY, you see, when we are trading Forex, we trade it in currency pairs. Mute. Okay. When you're trading, like I said, when you're trading JPY as a currency pair, but before you can come to that, when we are trading Forex, like I already told you, we are trading. Therefore, we are seeing the other parties that are trading certain pairs. What's that? For it to be, what do we consider to be a pair? Like UGX, or rather, it's Uganda shillings, it's US dollar UGX. You know what that pair is? It becomes a pair. These things whereby banks do say, $1 US equals to this, blah, 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 Uganda shillings. We make that a pair. Get it? So when we are trading Forex, remember we are seeing these other guys in the spot market, the rates at which they are trading for us to invest in and participate into them as CFD traders. Okay? What happens is we trade in currency pairs. Like for instance, we have different pairs. A pair is made up of two currencies. And the pair itself, the first currency usually on the right is referred to as the base currency. And the one on the court is referred to as, rather on the left is referred to as the court currency. Like for instance, we have US dollar, Uganda shillings, or UGX, USD, UGX. Okay? Sometimes it's separated by a stroke. So you can either call it USD stroke UBX, or you can just say USD UGX, or you can just say US dollar versus Uganda shillings. Whatever way you pronounce it or you call it is right. So when we are trading, we trade in currency pairs. Okay? So my point was, when you are trading, you at least need to know that among the pairs among the currencies in the particular pair we're looking at or trading, okay, this particular pair, its trading session is live. Like for instance, at night it's always better to trade pairs that have Australian dollar and JPY, because during that particular time, that's Ugandan time. Because Uganda and Europe we literally have the same time zone, right? If there is any difference, it is very small. It's a difference of only 3 hours, because we are GMT plus 3, right? We only have a difference of only 3 hours. So, what literally happens that side happens this side. So that's why if you're trading in Uganda, mainly to see the activity of what literally happens in the market, it's just that I don't have the market with me. I will illustrate this clearly. So you realize that at 11, the markets are so active, 11 a.m. Ugandan time. So I genuinely recommend you guys, if you're to start trading at 11 a.m. Ugandan time. Because this is the beginning of the London time. And London time means European market. So we have trading sessions or trading centers. At night, at 1 a.m. is seeding session. Seeding, this is when we see countries like Australia, New Zealand open. That's Ugandan time. At night, when they are open, for us we are sleeping. So 1 a.m. we see countries like Australia and New Zealand. So if you're trading, if you're to trade, you as a trader, you at least make sure that among the pairs that I'm trading, there should at least be Australia and New Zealand. So we have so many pairs that can match with both of these pairs. For instance, you can have a pair like NZB USD, Euro USD. America, they are sleeping on Euro. Yeah. All of these are sleeping, so it's not so active during that night. So at least get a pair that has NZB for Australia. So you can have Aussie dollar or Australian dollar, US dollar. Right? Yeah. And maybe others, you can trade Aussie JPY or Australian dollar JPY. Clear? Yeah. And that's from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. Ugandan time. That's seeding session. Then, before seeding closing, we see Asia, because we saw seeding and Asia at the same time zone, so they only have a difference of 3 hours, right? So we see 1, 2, 3. At 3, we see Asia, that's Tokyo. In Tokyo, you see at night in Asia they are sleeping, rather they are awake, for us we are sleeping. So meaning that at 3 a.m. is when we see Asia open. So that's why we say Sydney and Tokyo, we add them and call them Asian session as one thing. So at least you should trade pairs that have Australian dollar, New Zealand, or rather Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then the Japanese yen at night. So seeding closes at 11 a.m. Ugandan time. So they are moving together. They only have a difference of 3 hours. Yeah, seeding. No, yeah, seeding is 8 a.m. 11 a.m. So they are moving at the same pace. Zitambulas will be. Then at 11, immediately, then we see London. London, it's about like, is it about like 8 a.m.? Yes? We are just ahead of them by 3 hours. Right? So, that's why I'm encouraging you to trade during London session. Why? London is the capital of Forex. Just as stocks, or New York is the capital of stocks. So in London, we see currencies like, London session, we see currencies that are active during that particular time. Currencies like these currencies. Euro, yes? Then GBP, I think those two. So that's when we can have pairs like Euro, USD, GBP, USD, Euro, GBP, right?
That's from
11, yes.
Then you said Tokyo is from 3 a.m.
Tokyo is 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. Then Sydney is 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. Sorry.
And then London.
Yeah?
London.
London closes at 7 p.m. But before it closes, we see America or New York at 4 p.m., right?
That's what, 1 or midnight?
12.
Midnight.
Yes. America at 4. Before London closing at 7, America comes in. Or to New York. Remember we said London is the capital of Forex, followed by New York, or America, then lastly Asia. So meaning, if there is time in a day whereby we have two of the biggest guys in the market during a certain period of time that we usually call the hot zone. The hot zone happens between 4 and 7.
That's when the most.
Yes, this is when you're going to see livelihood in the markets. This is when you see the fundamentals coming up at this particular time. By fundamentals, we're looking at indices. Okay. When I talk of an index, what is an index? Not that one. In English. Who's good at English?
An index as an English.
In English.
Is a summary or is an average of the particular group?
The particular group.
Stocks or companies.
Not in English.
An index is like a measure.
Measure, not.
It's like a measure.
With respect to a certain
Okay.
relative.
May I take it as a figure that makes sense?
Yeah.
Like for instance, how old are you? When you tell me your age, it gives me a lot. Maybe you're single, you're still going at school. You see, just one figure. You see, you get the point. So that's an index. So when someone comes out and says fundamentals can be indices, or it can be an index, like for instance, they can give you unemployment rate of the United States. When they say, let's say when they say 102K is the unemployment figure for this month, and the one of this month, of last month was this, then you can literally compare that and know whether the US dollar is doing well or it's doing badly. So that's an index. So it can be an index, it can be a report, it can be a speech. So during that particular time, we get between 4 and 1 is when we actually see all these coming in place and happening.
So when you're trading, you want to be in that point and yes.
Okay, it's called the hot zone. This is when you see livelihood in the market. So it's actually important that when you're trading, at least not to miss this time. Okay, between 4 and 7. Because this is when you see the markets for the reasons I've given to you. Right? But it's not a must that you should trade them. Based upon your analysis. Okay? So when it comes to the strategies that we shall cover, I'll give you a script. The script of the strategies, I've made them proper and easier even for someone who is not done Forex before and follow and of course understand them. But then before you can come to those strategies, we at least need to cover certain things.
Excuse me.
Please.
What time does the New York market close?
12. Then at 12, remember the markets don't close like it's a shop. When they say it opens at this time, it doesn't mean that that's when everyone comes in, you know. So it will close at 12. But of course, there are some Americans that will keep trading, maybe wait and close, all that. Such that by the time when it comes at 1, you know, this is when seeding comes in. That's why usually between 12 and 1, the market is not so, it's dormant. So I don't recommend you to trade that during that time. 12 and 1 a.m. And also, I don't recommend you to trade at night. You can only trade pairs like Australian dollar and US dollar. Maybe New Zealand, US dollar. At night, you shouldn't trade everything.
So 90% is missing.
Probably, because Asians are not so active at Forex.
How long do you recommend holding trade?
How long? Okay. It's not me to, you know. Okay.